Welcome to the new and next deep dive from Career Thought Leaders. Today we're diving deep into a topic that's generating a lot of headlines, these predicted shifts in the job market driven by AI.
hmm
We're really zeroing in on specific industries and exploring how this tech is bringing both, well, disruption and potential for growth.
And crucially, this deep dive is really built for you. You're the career services providers, the coaches navigating these conversations every single day.
Yeah.
You shared the stack of sources with us on the future of work with AI. And our mission today is basically to go through them, pull out the essential insights.
The nuggets.
Exactly, the real nuggets of knowledge you can actually use right now with your clients.
Because AI and jobs, it can feel overwhelming. It's often framed by those, alarming headlines about mass job loss.
Right? Panic.
So we're going to use your sources to look beyond that, get to the actual stats, understand the different kinds of AI that's key, and see how firms are really implementing this tech.
Think of this as maybe your shortcut to getting really well informed on AI's impact on the job market, equipping you with the data, the frameworks you need for effective guidance.
Okay, let's unpack this then. You sent us sources filled with some pretty attention-grabbing numbers about potential job exposure and, frankly, fears.
Yeah, big numbers.
We've seen estimates of AI potentially impacting or exposing up to, 300 million jobs globally?
That's the figure, yeah. And surveys reflecting that real human anxiety, something like 30% of workers actually fear their job will be replaced by AI or similar tech by 2025.
Wow.
And one source even noted, get this, 14% of workers have already experienced some form of displacement related to AI or automation.
Okay, so that's not just future gazing. That's happening now for some.
Exactly. These aren't just abstract numbers. They represent real concerns people are bringing to coaches like you.
And what's really striking in the data you pull together is the geographical difference, that potential exposure.
Huge difference.
The sources show a significant 60% of jobs in advanced economies are considered highly exposed to AI's impact, compared to what, only 26% in low-income countries?
Yeah, that immediately tells you this isn't hitting everywhere the same way. It's not uniform at all.
And here's where the Pew data you included throws a bit of a curveball, I think, especially for those of you working with professional clients.
That part's interesting.
It suggests that workers with higher education bachelor's degree or higher and those in better paid jobs are actually more likely to be in professions most exposed to AI.
Right. It kind of flips the script, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Challenges that common narrative that automation mainly goes after lower skilled roles.
Totally. The source says 27% of workers with a bachelor's or higher are in these highly exposed jobs, but only 3% for those with less than a high school degree.
And the money follows that trend, too.
Yeah, the salary difference is stark.
Yeah.
Average hourly wage in the most exposed jobs is like $33.30 compared to $20 an hour in the least exposed.
So if you're coaching clients in professional services, finance, law, maybe even creative fields, they're likely facing a higher degree of potential AI impact than someone in, say, a manual labor role, according to this data anyway.
And this is the essential nuance that comes through again and again in your sources. Exposed doesn't mean eliminated.
Crucial distinction. Absolutely crucial.
Goldman Sachs estimates 2/3 of jobs in the U.S. and Europe are exposed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're quick to clarify this just means some tasks within those jobs could be automated.
Right. It's not predicting, poof, the whole job disappears for those roles.
Exactly. It's that task-level focus.
That's the key. The World Economic Forum data supports this too, showing that, 34% of business tasks are already being done by machines today.
34%. Okay.
And Goldman Sachs goes further, estimating maybe 25% of all work tasks could ultimately be handled by AI. A quarter of tasks.
And these aren't just minor things. The Pew data you shared highlights that tasks highly exposed to AI are considered important or extremely important in like 77% of all jobs.
Wow. So these are core activities.
Seems like it. And looking at specific examples from the Goldman Sachs analysis really clarifies it. They suggest 46% of administrative tasks, 44% of legal tasks, high automation potential.
Okay.
Compare that to just 6% in construction or like 4% in maintenance.
Big difference across functions. That differential is really critical for you to understand when talking to clients in different fields.
So if AI can handle significant chunks of these tasks, especially in white-collar roles, what's the real-world impact we're actually seeing so far?
Good question. There's a working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research based on a Denmark study. They looked at AI chatbot rollout in white-collar jobs, accountants, lawyers, HR, IT. those kinds of roles.
Early adopters probably, what did they find?
Well, maybe surprisingly, they found that on average, the impact on worker hours and pay has been negligible so far.
Negligible, really?
Yeah. Workers saved about 3% of their time using the AI tools, but only a tiny fraction of that, like 3% to 7% of that productivity gain, actually translated into higher pay.
Huh. That's fascinating. So the tools are saving time on certain things, drafting emails, coding snippets, marketing copy, job posts.
Right, specific tasks.
But the overall job structure, the core responsibilities, and therefore the average hours and pay for the job itself haven't shifted much yet.
Exactly. And it raises that big question the researchers posed. What are workers actually doing with that saved 3% of time?
Yeah. Are they shifting to higher value work,
Mm.
or is it just absorbing slack? We don't know yet.
And this kind of aligns somewhat with Mark Cuban's viewpoint from your sources. He pushes back against those big predictions, like 50% entry-level white-collar job loss.
Right. He has a more historical tech perspective.
Yeah, he argues, technology hasn't just destroyed jobs historically. It creates new industries, new roles. He sees AI more as a tool to enhance human capabilities, not just replace decisions.
And its impact really depends on how companies implement it.
Precisely. Which brings us to Darren Asimoglu's estimate from your sources. He puts the potential GDP boost from AI at, well, significant, but maybe not world-altering 1.1% to 1.6% over the next decade.
Okay, noticeable, but not the massive doubling some predict.
Right. And he emphasizes that getting even those gains requires huge organizational adjustment, investment, and crucially, improvement in worker skills and training. It doesn't just happen.
So for you as career professionals listening, this complex picture is really vital. It's not simple. It's not your job is safe or your job is doomed.
Not at all. It's about understanding the task level changes, the potential for time savings, the absolute need for skill evolution.
And recognizing that those big macro stats on exposure don't automatically mean job elimination, especially not right now based on this early data.
It's really about helping your clients adapt to changing roles, not necessarily disappearing ones.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. There's a framework in one of your sources, the Stanford-World Bank study, that can help make sense of why AI might impact different roles and tasks differently.
Ah, yes, this is really useful. They categorize AI by its functional capabilities, mapping them onto human cognition.
Which is powerful for you in career guidance, right? Yeah. Because it moves beyond just AI as this one big scary thing.
Exactly. They break it down into things like language, perception or motor skills, engagement, inference, decision-making, learning, and creativity. Different flavors of AI, basically.
And their key finding, based on looking at company patent data, is that different types of AI innovation based on these functions have really distinct effects on employment.
Very distinct. They identified what they called displacing AI, innovations in perception-based AI. I think image recognition, sound detection, automated quality control, damage assessment.
Stuff that replicates human senses.
Pretty much. That type was found to significantly decrease employment in jobs where those tasks are key. This is the AI that replaces a specific human ability.
Okay, that makes sense. But then there's the other side.
Right. In contrast, AI innovations related to engagement, creativity, language, learning, and decision-making. These were found to significantly increase employment in exposed occupations.
So those are the augmenting AI types.
Exactly. And they even break that down further. There's scope augmentation from engagement, learning, and creativity AI. These types don't just boost productivity, they specifically drive the net hiring of workers with new skills.
Okay, examples.
Think personalized recommendations, interactive training platforms, AI tools helping generate creative content. They expand what's possible and require people with new skills to manage them.
Got it. And the other type of augmentation?
That's core augmentation from language and decision-making AI. These increase overall headcount too, but they don't necessarily demand hiring workers with fundamentally new skills compared to what the role already needed.
So like an LLM drafting emails or an automated loan decision system.
Exactly. It makes the existing role more efficient, maybe requires learning the tool, but the core skills needed might be pretty similar.
And the source links these AI types to specific jobs using ONET data, right? Based on skills.
Yeah, it's quite specific. For instance, top executives are highly related to creativity, engagement, and learning AI, those scope augmenting types that drive hiring for new skills.
Interesting.
Supervisors are tied more to decision-making AI augmenting, but not necessarily demanding totally new skills.
And language AI is obvious. Translators, writers, Perception AI, the displacing kind, links to roles like image analysts, inspectors, visual or auditory analysis jobs.
So this functional breakdown gives you, the coach, a really concrete way to analyze a client's role. It's not just, is my job exposed?
Right, it's what tasks do I do? Which AI type relates to those tasks? And does that type tend to augment or displace roles like mine?
Exactly. That lets you give much more tailored, actionable advice about skill development. What new skills will help them leverage the augmenting AI that's coming to their field?
That framework feels incredibly valuable. Okay, let's briefly touch on the firm's perspective based on your sources. Why do companies even invest in this?
Well, augmenting AI is often adopted because it boosts productivity, increases firm value. Pretty straightforward.
Makes sense.
Displacing AI can also increase value, but often it's through cost savings by reducing labor needs, laying people off.
Okay, but the study highlights a critical external factor here,
Yeah.
the flexibility of the labor market.
Yeah, this is key. Augmenting AI, the kind that often requires new skills, generates more value for a firm when external hiring costs are lower.
So if it's easy and cheap for firms to find and hire workers with those needed new skills,
They get more bang for their buck from that augmenting AI.
and the flip side,
Displacing AI provides more value when termination costs are lower. If it's less expensive or legally easier to let go of workers whose tasks are automated.
then that kind of AI investment becomes more attractive purely from a cost-saving angle.
So the environment itself, how easy it is to hire new skills versus how costly it is to shed old roles, significantly shapes how firms adopt AI and how it ultimately hits employment.
Which points towards needing policies and systems that support labor adjustment, skill development. A theme echoed in that Stanford AI Index study you included.
Right, that Stanford HAI study makes a crucial connection. It links AI-related job growth not just to the economy, but also to improved social well-being, physical health, social connections, financial security.
But there's a condition.
A big one. They found this positive link is strongest in places that already have the right infrastructure, especially cities and regions with a more educated workforce and strong high-tech service sectors.
So AI can drive growth and well-being, but it's not automatic. It needs the right conditions, particularly a workforce equipped with the skills to adapt and use the tech.
Which just underscores again the central role of education, continuous skill development. It's all intertwined.
Okay, let's try and pull these threads together for you, our listeners, the career services pros. The sources paint a really nuanced picture.
Definitely not black and white. AI's main impact right now seems to be changing tasks within jobs, not eliminating roles wholesale on average, not yet anyway.
And different types of AI have fundamentally different effects. Perception tends to displace. Others, language, learning, creativity, engagement, decision-making, tend to augment, sometimes even driving hiring for new skills.
And how firms actually use this AI, whether it leads to hiring or displacement, is influenced by that external labor market environment, the costs of hiring versus firing.
And finally, AI job growth can be positive for the economy and society, but it really depends on having that foundation of infrastructure and, critically, an educated, adaptable workforce.
Understanding all this nuance, focusing on tasks, knowing the AI types, recognizing the absolute importance of skills is just essential for giving effective, grounded career guidance today.
It totally reframes the conversation, doesn't it? Away from that vague fear.
Yeah, into a strategic analysis. Instead of, will AI take my job? It becomes, okay, which specific tasks in my role are most likely to be automated? What type of AI is relevant? And based on that, what specific new skills should I focus on developing to work with that AI, especially the augmenting kinds?
Right. So given all this, the data showing higher educated, higher paid workers are actually more exposed at the task level, the difference between displacing and augmenting AI, and that finding that augmenting AI boosts hiring for new skills. Here's something for you to think about.
Okay.
How does this fundamentally shift the focus for career development advice, away from just static job titles towards helping individuals build these dynamic, adaptable skill portfolios? And maybe more specifically, how can you, as career thought leaders, best help individuals figure out which new skills are the most valuable ones to get right now to really augment the specific AI capabilities popping up in their target roles and industries?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Something to definitely ponder as you continue your vital work guiding professionals through what's next.
Thanks for diving deep into these sources with us today.
Always insightful. We'll see you on the next one.